detailed interview. I am with Adam Palmieri. My first question for you, Adam. Who are you?
Well, to answer your question, I am Adam Palmieri. I'm 28 years old and I live in White Lake, Michigan. I've lived in White Lake, Michigan for about 5 years, and I've lived in the state of Michigan my entire life.
My next question for you. What do you do?
I do a lot of artwork, I do a lot of animation, I also do a lot of web development and web design, and throughout the years I've actually been able to focus that all into one collective being with the site that I'm actually going to tell you about, which is FurTaleComics.com, among other websites that I have done over the years.
My last question for you. Why do you do it?
I actually say that I do these things because I have a lot of passion for them in general, I particularly love being a furry artist. Furry artwork in general, it's one thing that's actually influenced me a lot over the career. I'm a fan of human too, don't get me wrong. I'm not biased towards the anthropomorphic work itself, but for some reason it seems to have a better variety for me. And I love having variety of all sorts, and with this it actually gives me more creative freedom, in my opinion though. In order to partake in more different kinds of comics, whether they're fantasy, sci-fi, noir, or just plain dark horror in general. Whatever it is, I just love adding animals in because the expressions on them can be so... what's the word I want to use? Can actually be very, very unbroad. I don't know if that's a word or not, but it's just not like a simple smile or frown. You get the ears, you get the mouth, you get the muzzle in general. You get all that combined, and it actually adds up to a lot more challenging facial expressions, I'll admit, but they offer a lot bit more playfulness as well.
Thank you, Adam, for your time. And now, out of the dark sketch room and into the next interview portion.
Hello, and thank you for joining me, Adam. I'd like to say I'm a huge fan of your work, and the first question I have to ask you about Furtale Comics is, what's the concept behind it? Overall concept for Furtale Comics in general, it actually goes with the model that I've created, and that goes all animal, never human. And what that means is, these are furry webcomics that have all animal characters, but non-human involved. And I go by this concept actually because I sort of actually hate playing it safe. I hate saying, well, we'll have all of this, but there might be a little bit of that. In general, I actually like to keep it that way, and Furtale Comics in general, when it first started out for the concept, was online. And the concept of this online furry webcomic company that I created is to actually be reached out to many different viewers in general. At first I had to develop it for web, which actually was really tricky. My main goal actually was to create a reader that could be viewed on any size desktop screen, from top to bottom, height and width purely, to a mobile device, to a tablet, and even a actual gaming console, and I've had to test these on so many different variations that while the web developed coding side of me was very tricky, there was also another challenging side of actually designing it to actually fit the websites in general, to fit the mobile device in general, to fit the consoles in general. I basically had to work on so many different variations. Like, I even had to separate a tablet from a mobile Android device because they both were as the same thing, and I had to have them register as different, which, in my opinion, was really hard. But about after 6 months of coding, I was actually able to deliver the final product, which really made me happy in the end. And it made me accomplish my first major goal with Fertile Comics, and I actually hope to take it up a step further from there.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Alright, the next question I have is, tell me the history of Fertile Comics.
Fertile Comics actually began about 4 years ago. You see, one night I was laying in bed and I couldn't sleep. And I just sat there looking up, and all of a sudden an idea popped in my head. I'm like, you know what? I want to create for a webcomic company. And this is true story. And so I got to work designing the logo, and with that logo, it ended up using Hobo Stencil D, and then along with an orange foxtail. And I actually wanted the colors to be simplistic, so I started thinking more along the lines of like a Harley Davidson kind of feel. So naturally I went with orange, white, and black, but I had it mixed to where it actually feel, so hardcore, to the adult level, but also at the kid level as well, just like how Harley Davidson does it. Whenever you see Harley Davidson, they don't advertise just to adults with their hogs or motorcycles, if you want to call them that. They also actually advertise them to kids as well. I'm sure maybe when you were growing up you saw the Power Wheels, Harley Davidson motorcycles that they came out with. So I basically wanted it to be in general for all audiences, for kids and adults. I didn't want anything that was too racy or, too lewd as they call it, or too violent and gory. I basically just wanted a good mix of work to present it for all ages.
Okay, and now into my favorite question. What's the main goal with Fertile Comics?
The main goal of Fertile Comics for me is to keep on expanding from where it once was. For me, I actually want to expand beyond just websites, maybe one day go into physical publishing, but I don't want to just rest easy and think I'm in my comfort zone at the moment, because truthfully, I'm not. I know there's more potential in me to do more, and I definitely want to do more with the site. And, even despite the lack of resources that I've had, concerning the fact that the website was built by one person, yours truly, I've always actually wanted to make sure that I just keep striving for more, and that's in terms of the website design, in terms of the website coding in general, and even just more variety in comics in general. And with that, I just want to keep getting better at all three of those areas, so I can reach out to more people with my work. I have already, but I still want to keep growing in general. I just want to expand out to as many people as I need to or want to. Whether they're into the anthropomorphic or whether they're not, I basically just want to reach out to them in some sort of way.
Pikachu, pika pika pika, pik pika, Pikachu, pika pika pika, Pikachu.
I actually do have future Fertile Comics ideas in the works. even before I actually launched the site, I drew out a whole bunch of ideas and posted them on my own um, private place. And I actually kept those ideas in mind, and I actually want to use those for future reference. One of the characters I had, from another character concept, comic concept, I actually used in my first comic. Her name was Serena Dingo, and I actually used her as the bartender in the first comic. Just kind of give a little bit of hint of, hey, here's the future stuff that's coming on right now. And, with those projects, I believe that they are going to actually even push me even further. Because if I've ever even proven to myself, hey, I can do this, hey, I can develop this kind of coding and webbing, who else knows what else I can do at the moment? And I think that's actually going to be a lot of fun in the future. And I'm really anxious to just dive right into it. So, yep.
Pika 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 Pikachu Pikachu pika pika Pikachu pika pika Pikachu.
So the future publishing strategies that I have, I actually want to get into print. Well, I have in terms of performing printing. For a while when I was unemployed, I actually got employed over at Office Max, and then later on I actually went into UPS, and throughout both jobs I actually learned about cardstock. I also learned about how to manufacture my own business cards. I learned about the cheapest ways to get printing, where I could get printing done, and even at the time, even if it was, even if I was only doing part-time work, and even if it was low wage for my standards, I was able to learn those techniques, and I could take those techniques that I learned and apply them into my new work, since I'm actually currently doing web design and web development for another company. So throughout that time, even though it looked like a downfall for me, I actually want to utilize those skills. I don't want that to go to waste for me, and I actually want to publish physically so I can get the word out about Fertile Comics. I know there's always been a little bit of a wage of a war between, the digital market and then the printing market, but I think both offline and online advertising both have their strengths, and if I can put those strengths together somehow, that would be really great. That would actually help give me more edge over my competition, I would have to say.
Pika Pikachu Pika pika Pikachu 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 Pika Pikachu Pika pika Pikachu Pika pika Pikachu Pika pika Pikachu Pika 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 Pikachu.
If I had to pick an endgame for Fertile Comics, I would actually just want it to continue. I know lots of artists out there, and they say, I want to do art for a living, which is great, and, I can't argue with that at all. But what I also want to do with Fertile Comics is, I just want it to be either A, the most well known, or B, what's the word I'm looking for? Innovative is the word I'm going to use here. In terms of how we do things, I know there's a lot of other furry webcomic sites out there, but, for me in general, I want to keep expanding, I want to keep growing, and, I guess you'd say I do have a lot of ambition, which has either been my strength or also my downfall, as I've experienced in the past. with working with code and with working with design, it has caused me, quite a massive headache from time to time. But other times, seeing that goal at the end of what I wanted to do, like the short-term ones, or still developing the long-term one, I really see that my end game for Virtual Comics is really just to continue on in general. Either by me or maybe by somebody else, but I definitely want to not give up on Virtual Comics. I know it's not like Marvel, I know it's not like DC, and I know it's not even like Dark Horse, despite the fact that they're independent, but I still want to give up on that, because I've had a lot of encouragement from a lot of people, I've had compliments from people saying like, hey, I've never seen a webcomic do this before, and that actually hit me in the heart really well, and that was actually a really uplifting compliment, and the fact that people see this and the fact that they get amazed is really are all far too damn awesome. I've got no words to express how I'm grateful I am. Throughout this whole interview, it's actually been a real pleasure. Talking with you and the others, it's actually, been a real great experience for me. And I know that sounds, arrogant. I'm just talking about my own company in general, but throughout the whole experience, I've really enjoyed this interview, and I hope in the future I actually get to continue to do more of them. So I want to thank you for taking the time for interviewing me, and I want to thank all of you out there for taking the time to listen to me. You all have a great day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're going to watch this. Take care, everyone.